So I've done 2 videos showing how to do 2 different collages. The Buttercup one's already been uploaded, and then now I'm going to do the Bluebell one. So you'll see the link to the Buttercup one above and in the description below. And now let's get on with the Bluebell one. I hope you enjoy. Please remember to like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Let's get on with it. I also did Bluebell ones as well. So this is the paper, and you can see I've already cut out bluebells from them, like so. And I just get a somewhere where the colour is a bit more mixed. You get some good scissors to do this, and all you want, you're just trying to cut out lovely little bluebell shapes. And they have these lovely curly petals, don't they? So you end up stuff like that. Okay, and it's best if you don't just do one colour. Try and get all the different tones in. So you do it out of something that had interest, like this there, where there's the purple and the blue. And it's remarkably forgiving. There you go. And here's some others that I've cut out. Those are the leaves that I've cut out from the green. And then here's a whole series of lovely little bluebell shapes. There you go. So they are going to be my beautiful bluebells. And the more sort of variation you can get, the nicer. And of course you use it so that you can sit a light and a dark against each other, so you get contrast. So you don't need to paint. You really are just using the contrasts and the lovely different hues to make up your composition. So that's for that. I have glued on my pot made from wallpaper and my tablecloth made from wallpaper, and I'm now going to put in a bit of background. These are all the bits that I've cut out, so I'll show you afterwards. And this is the Bluebell one. So this one I want more of a do I? Yeah, I want more of a cream sort of background with this one. Very light cream with a bit of yellow in it. Yeah. So the yellow keeps it really nice and light. Take it up to the tablecloth. This paper was old. It had been stretched ages ago and was lying about the studio. So it's a bit mucky, but the paint will cover it up. And I do really like the bit of yellow in that as well, just to make it look like sunlight. It emits light, doesn't it? It's a bright colour. I think that will look nice with the blue. Yeah, it all looks really clean and fresh, which is what I'm after. And you know, if you're not happy with the colours, you can change it, can't you? With acrylics, this is just acrylic paint. And don't worry about the background, because I'm going to add shades as well. And then let's see, what am I going to use on the tablecloth? I think this time, for my shading, I am going to use the blue. It's just a bit of Carillion blue hue. So I'm going to do it predominantly cream again. Almost like a white cream, because there's already a cream in the wallpaper. And then I'm going to start bringing in the blue as the shading, and just almost like to pick up some of the lovely bits of colour from the bluebells. Oh, it's so nice. I'm just going to do the pot like it's blue, like it's a bluey green glass. And you can detail this up more as you go on, but this sort of gives you a basis, you know, from which to start all these lovely colours. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Green in there, as it sort of like the shading of the, like shadowing of the the leaves and the actual bunches of flowers, so I've just added some colour into the vase and into the bottom, you see? And then you've got that. Right, once that's dry, you just can start to build up the collage. Also, I'm going to try and do some bluebells, so I'm just going to get the background in first. I've cut some leaves, and again I'm going to work on the principle that the darker ones go to the background. And I like it when the things extend beyond framing sometimes, so I'm not too worried about actually where the leaves and stuff go. I'm going to build up some leaves. I think this one's going to be a lot simpler. And again, try and get the dark ones in the background, the lighter ones in the foreground, except if there's one that's going to go over the, like so. I want these to come over the side of the pot. So basically just start off with your leaves that you want to go to the background first. I'm sticky with everything. I should have cut these all out first. So I've got so far, it's just a question of trying to decide how it all works. You've got to make sure you vary the sort of angles of these, because I've just done it a bit and it looked wrong. So. And as I meant to mention in the other video, you've got to watch the negatives as well as the positives. So you've got to watch the spaces in between like mad too. Make sure they're not too regular. Like those angles have got to be really different to one another. Let's see, I think I might put that there. I want some more of these. That's a nice one. It's sort of important to make sure that they're organic as well, you know, that they flow, that they're not too regular and prescribed. I want some light blue ones coming up through here. And then you see on top of this I will then start putting my bluebells, and it'll be the bluebells that sort of, you know, amalgamate it all. They're just going to cover up quite a lot of what you've already done. And they'll just look amazing. And it's really dead simple once you get going. So there's one that's going to come forward. So like that really. I don't want to overcomplicate it for everybody now at this point. So let's just keep going with a few more. Again, I'm so sorry my head gets in the way and really affects the focus. I'd filmed this last week when I did the Buttercups ones, so I had already done it, you know, before I realised what the problem was, and I will change it in the future. The other thing is, I'm showing you everything. You can fast forward through this, that's the beauty of the video. I thought you could just take advantage of seeing every single little thing I add on there, so that you know that it's not really a simple process. It takes quite a bit of time and is more complex than it looks. And the more detail you put in, the more full and exuberant the bouquet of flowers looks. So it is worth it. And I just simply go through it. I cut off the bottom of the stem so that it fits into the pot nicely, so there's no sharp edge, but the edge is broken by more bluebells later on. And I just think about the negatives and the positives, and think about the sort of exuberance of the picture, the display, and really think I'm more or less doing a bouquet of flowers, a flower arrangement, but with paper instead of flowers. I just take my time. You can test out where you're going to put the things first. That's another beauty of it, before you stick it down. I've used an archival glue, which will be in the description below. I just spend time sorting out the background first before I put on the bluebells, because this is really the sort of composition of the picture. And I do mess with it a bit. Sorry, it's out of focus. You can put in the comments below whether you think I should show everything or whether I should jump to the next point, because really you can see what I'm doing even if I do jump and you don't have to go through these boring bits. There I've added a stem, and these little top bits are the buds. They're lovely again. They're the same as they're the same as the buttercups, and they take your eye out to the edge of the picture, so they're really helpful in terms of composition. And now you just arrange the bluebells in lovely droplets from the stems. Oh, and you'll need to keep washing your hands. I've got no sink in my studio. The glue's got on my fingers, and then it's sticking to some of the collage bits as I try and put it down. There's another little bud at the end of the stem, and here comes the dangly bluebells. They just work really easily. They're good fun, and you use contrasts so that your eye can detect the different little individual bluebells more easily. And it also, of course, varies the lovely colour of the blue that you use in the picture. My initial piece was very much a mixture of blues, of the light blues, dark blues, purples, splodges, mark making, all that come together in this picture at the end, and utilise the collage technique, because it would be so difficult to get the same mark with a paintbrush. Here comes another stem, which I just cut out from paper beforehand, and I'll place my bluebells down on that. There's my head, sorry. Here goes some more bluebells, again thinking about the contrasts. And you can see I've already placed some over the edge of the pot, so that you break that line, the division between the top and the bottom of the picture, the two parts of the picture. I have got a number of bluebells cut out, but I also see if I need a particular colour or a particular shape, I'll go back to the scissors and the paper and cut a few more out. And there we go, again varying the tones and the colours and the contrasts so that you can see the actual individual bluebells. Don't think I've got any really light blue left. I've obviously thought it was the right colour in the past and used it, you know. I've slowed the filming down here a bit just so that you can see me cut out a little extra bluebell. I don't use a picture to copy. I've been doing them for long enough that I can remember in my head what bluebells look like, and I just seem to be able to do them by hand. So there you go, the little curl at the end of the petal. I'm bunging in another leaf there. Oh no, that'll be a stem, so I'll drop bluebells off that. And here's some more buds. Taking your eye to the edge of the picture. More bluebells which are getting stuck to my fingers. Again, this is something that you don't want to do, because in fact I started taking off the paper from the top, the painted paper. So keep your hands clean, basically, is a good idea. And now you're just arranging the bluebells so that they look natural. They're almost erratic. They're almost better if you don't be too regular with them, so that they have that organic look when it's finished. Sorry about my head again. There goes another bud to take your eye out. Again, I'm sorry, because I am actually showing you almost every single thing I stick on, just so that you can follow it if you want to. If you don't want to, of course, it's dead easy to fast forward on these, or to put it on a playback speed that's quicker, because really you don't need to see every single one. Really, you can choose where to put your bluebells. It just helps those who do want to see exactly how it's done. Now here I'm starting to think about putting leaves in front of existing bluebells, so that you don't leave the bluebells like an image just on top of the leaves, so it amalgamates the background and the foreground a bit more. And I also think about at the composition, taking it out towards the edges and over the edge of the pot, you'll see I do a couple of little leaves that go down over the edge of the pot as well. And it's things like that that are really useful to know. So if I fast forward it, you wouldn't see me adding all the little bits and pieces. It sort of becomes a fait accompli all of a sudden, and that's not quite how it works, is it? There is an actual stem that I'm going to put over, and I cut it and then sort of worked out how much of it I needed in order for it to work over the edge of the pot. And then this is really sweet when you start layering on the bluebells on top, and there's a leaf that's going over again. There's another leaf. So you're still, even though you've done the majority of the composition, you're still adding little bits and pieces. I'm cutting another leaf to fit in there. So this leaf is coming, or I pick up a bluebell and put it underneath there. More buds have just gone on. There we go. And then finish off the few that are going to go into the centre of the bouquet of bluebells. And again, test them out. See where you think it looks right first and then pop them on. There's my head, sorry. I'm going to be getting a new camera set up after this. And there's a close-up of what it is so far. Still not finished. It's still not busy enough. I did want to keep it simple, and then I just got more and more carried away or involved in it. It's such a shame because the camera is focusing on my head when my head's in the way. It's not your eyes, it's the focusing of the camera. There's just a couple of extra things I need to do with this. I felt that it needed some extra bits, so I've got tiny little additions that I'm just going to add to them. It just adds both texture and a bit of shading. And then I also felt it needed some leaves that go over the top of it, so I'm just going to glue those down. I just sort of chose a couple of choice pieces. There was a lovely bit of purple blue. I wanted to extend some of the bits out. There's another one there in addition. Centerpiece in there, which I just did a little tiny star thing. It's just really to add a bit of interest. There's that one. That one's down. I really like that bluebell, but it needed a bit of extra texture. I think that's it for the texture. And then it was a couple of leaves, and I wanted some to come over. I don't think there was that one. I wanted some to come over the tops of the others. Now I know there was another long dark one. But I wanted to come over here somewhere. Just to take that out as far as I can, like so. This one. And it's just so that it's sort of, some of them actually come in front of the bluebells. What I'm going to do is here next is put some shading on it so it sticks more into the picture. I could put another leaf coming out there actually. There's one. And it just takes your eye out again. Do I need it? Yes. There we go. A bit more shaped. Okay, so in order to add the shading, I'm going to have to let that dry. I always enjoy this bit. It's really good fun. Just adding the colours of the shading. It's really supposed to be the shadows of the bluebells on the tablecloth. And often, I think, shadows contain the colours of the things which they are shadows of. So I use these beautiful colours. and it sits really beautifully on the wallpaper. Does it without you having to do anything. This is the shadowing of the rim of the pot, so the pot bends slightly inwards there, so there's a bit of darkness there, and it's really good again because the colours don't move of the Bluebells. They're acrylic, and you can wipe them off if you get them on there if you need to, but it doesn't even seem to affect it very much. You're just adding in darks between them. I put the curve there to reflect the curve of the pot, so it gives the pot shape and dimension. A lovely bit of brown there to set off the bottom, to really give the base a place to sit, and purple again. Use the colours that are within the picture, both for design reasons and because shadows reflect the colours that are within the image itself. So if somebody's wearing a red jumper, they will have red on their face a bit. And there is no real prescribed way of doing this. It's really nice to pick out the edges of the pot, the bottom of the pot, and the shape, so you've got the curves of the shape. And sometimes a bluebell is reflected into the pot, so you can add a dark blue next to a bluebell above. And again, if you bring the lighter colours to the back and the darker colours to the foreground, you give it some dimension as well. I have in the past painted in the stems as well, but these don't really need it, it's simple. And then what I do is go in, add some darks into the centre of the image. I don't always do this because it's such a design thing and not so much a realistic painting. I take out some shadows on the leaves, and again it just helps with the design, helps with the overall picture, gives it movement. So the idea is the shadows are just falling on the wall behind the picture, so I'm not too worried about it, and nor have I made this very strong. It's up to you really. Sometimes I do make them really strong. Say if I feel it needs a bit more movement and grace, I'll bung some more shadows of the actual bunch of flowers on the wall behind it. And again, you think, oh, I'm painting over the things that already exist, and you're not. It doesn't really sit, it doesn't really take on the collage, it doesn't affect it's such a light blue, it doesn't really affect the collage. And there you go, I'm just picking out some of the shapes that there might be. Again, not really worrying about it, and you don't have to add in this bit. I'm twiddling as much as anything. Oh yeah, there's the edge of the tablecloth. And I think at the very end I put some more dark underneath the pot, just to give it somewhere to sit. And perhaps pick out the actual line of the pot, the edge of the pot. So here's the finished item. I'll show you some of the bits up close. I hope you enjoyed doing it. I hope you get something out of it. Some of the way that the paints sit on the wallpaper is just gorgeous. And of course it has this lovely vibrancy about it, and simplicity as well, so it works really nicely. There you go. Thank you very much. Please remember to like and subscribe. It's really helpful. Oh, and of course you can do loads of things with this. You can do loads of abstracts as well. It's just collage, isn't it? Enjoy. Thank you very much, and please remember to like and subscribe. All the best. Bye.